And so you're right. During COVID, a lot of people were like self-love, self-management, mental health, healing, but they're just saying it and not really doing the work that is necessary. What I love that you said was you had to spend self to learn how to love to what that really means, to give yourself, and it could be something as small as, I need 8 hours of sleep. I'm going to give my body, from a health standpoint, the love it deserves and give my 8 hours. I'm going to drink more water. And guess what? I'm going to go all the way back. Now we're going a step further to the things that have traumatized me or left me feeling less than or stressed or whatever, and really start dealing with those things and compartmentalizing certain things, itemizing certain things, acknowledging other things, trying to work through certain things so that I can get to a point where when I step out again, like you said, if you don't serve this new presentation,
you can't be here.
Come on this ride with me.
Right. Access denied.
And people don't take the time to do that. Now, what about your family members? How do you handle them? Because sometimes that's difficult.
That is difficult. This is where it gets tricky. This is where it gets.
Help me, because I don't like my daughter sometimes. So I want you to help me.
So, when it comes to family, I think you also have to put family in different categories, and be like, well, what do they serve in this space? And I don't want us to live in a space that just because you can love somebody and still not allow them to abuse you and still not allow them to take advantage of you, And so I think that's my advice, is that you have to realize that family is important and you can love them, but sometimes you need to love them from a distance.
And that's difficult because when you talk about a mother and her children, which is, my situation, I'm trying to figure out how to let them know that they do have some little toxic traits, that affect our dynamic in our relationship, but I don't want to make it worse. And then at the same time, they feel like I'm the toxic person. So 2 questions when we really dig into this thing. How do I let my children know that they may be toxic without making our dynamic worse, right? And then how am I able to recognize I could potentially be the toxic person that's making this relationship dynamic? Try.
So it's funny that you say that. So when I came out to my mother, we didn't talk for months. And it was a very toxic situation. It was hard for me because we had been like this since I was a child. And it wasn't until that I realized that even though I was in a place of wanting healing and growth and figuring out, that didn't necessarily mean that she was there too. So I had to be patient to where both parties were willing to step into the ring, to be vulnerable and to give everything and to be honest. I think that's really what it takes, because the difference is that when you are trying to heal from something and you're trying to heal with another person, it's really going to force you to have to face yourself, to have to look in the mirror. And if you aren't willing to be uncomfortable, then you will never be able to get the growth and the healing that you want. So both parties have to be willing to stare at themselves in the face and come to truth of that, and to be more aware of confronting the things about yourself without needing them to say them to you first.
Okay. I like that. I like that. So I'm gonna have to get lyric, because that's the daughter I'm talking about. I'm gonna have to get her in front of the mirror, and we're gonna stare at each other, and we're gonna really talk through in the mirror what is affecting both of us and why we feel like we can't communicate properly, which is creating this toxic environment between the two of us.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's what we'll do. Okay, have you ever been there was a toxic person in your life and you knew, like, hey, I don't want to be around you, and then they come back and say they've changed their negative ways, and then you let them back in?
I think people have tried to do that, but I think for me is that I will say, okay, but I will place different situations or scenarios in place to show me if you've actually changed, or I pay attention to certain things that they say or the way that they
You have
react to
some tests.
things.
You put them kind of through little tests.
Yes, exactly. And then when I notice that nothing's changed and you still doing the same old stuff, then no, we can't continue to do this, you know, because at the end of the day, I also say is that you have to base people off of how they make you feel, you know.
Yeah.
And I've been in situations with people where it gives me anxiety, it gives me stress, and anytime I start to feel that come up again, I'm like, we can't do this.